All right, so next, Ben, we're going to talk about two teams that have been heating up in the NL East, the Braves and the Mets.
The Braves and the Mets faced off against each other this week in what was a very highly anticipated series, at least for everybody else that was watching as well, because not only have these two teams been the best teams in the NL East, they've been two of the best teams in the National League of late, and a couple weeks ago, for the first time, I switched the two of them in my power rankings. I put the Braves ahead of the Mets. So this was a much anticipated series, and it lived up to the hype. So, look, just a month ago, at the beginning of June, the Mets had a 10.5 game lead over the Atlanta Braves. Double-digit lead in a division. Just a month and a half later, that lead is down to a game and a half. Now, why is that? Because a lot of people want to point to the Mets and say, well, the Mets are going to Met. We all knew it would happen. No, not so fast. The Braves went 30-9 in that stretch. Since June 1st, the Braves were 30-9. The Mets were actually over 500, and it's in a stretch of their schedule at one point, which got ridiculous. They had to travel out and play the Dodgers, and then they played a bunch of other really good teams on that road trip as well. And they were on the road for like 10 games. It was a ridiculous stretch of games, and they went over 500. And in that stretch, since the Braves went 30-9, the Mets were over 500 as well. So was this collapse in the standings, if you will, a matter of the Mets being the Mets? No, it was a matter of the Atlanta Braves being the best team in baseball in that stretch. And they absolutely were. And we were heading towards a collision course of this mid-season, midweek matchup that a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday games in the schedule meant something, meant a lot. And we got a great series. The Mets ended up winning that series 2-3. Max Scherzer on Monday threw fantastic. Peterson threw well on Tuesday. Chris Bassett threw fantastic on Wednesday. I mean, this series lived up to the hype, in my opinion. So let me first state that, yes, I did move the Braves ahead of the Mets in my power rankings, because what just got ridiculous is, one, even after the Monday game, I had Mets fans in my mentions saying, oh, what a clown. Why? How dare you put the Braves over the Mets in the power rankings? And then the next day it was crickets. And then Wednesday, it was, oh, yeah, I told you so. Let me just say here that at no point did I give up on the Mets. In fact, I have believed in the Mets this year more than many and have continually said that the Mets aren't going to Met. And in my opinion, this was the first series that really exemplified that. This was the first series that said, okay, we lost 9 games in the standings to this team that's been the best in baseball. It would have been so easy for the Mets to go into Atlanta and to get their doors blown off. But they did the opposite. They dominated that series, and they looked fantastic. This was a fantastic series against two fantastic teams. I tweeted this. The NL East is going to be an absolute dogfight the rest of the year. The Braves were the hottest team on the planet coming in. I've been saying all year long, the Mets aren't going to Met. Well, this series proved just that. This was impressive from them on the road. This would have been the series to do it. The Mets haven't won the division since 2015, when they got to the World Series. 2015 since they won the division. And now here we are. They have a 10.5 game lead. The Braves knocked that down to a 1.5 games. This would have been the series. If we were going to see the Mets of old come out and, yep, the Mets are going to Met, I told you so, it would have started on Monday in Atlanta, and they would have gotten swept by the Atlanta Braves on the road. They didn't do that. They threw out Max Scherzer on Monday, and he dominated them. He dominated that game. He looked fantastic. The Mets end up winning. They lose on Tuesday, even though their starting pitcher looked fantastic. And then Chris Bassett, and they just dominated on Wednesday. The Mets looked really good. Steve Gelbs tweeted this. That's a statement series from the Mets, taking 2 of 3 from the scorching hot Braves without McNeil and Marte. It's no joke. Notably, the 2 players paid to be the guys stepped up big. Scherzer set the tone in Game 1. Lindor led the charge on both sides of the ball in Game 3. The Mets did this without 2 All-Stars, without their all-star Jeff McNeil, without Starling Marte. And oh yeah, they have a guy named Jacob deGrom who is the best pitcher on the planet that hasn't pitched this year and is on the doorstep of being back. So they didn't do this in a series in which, it lined up well. They had Max Scherzer go, and they had Jacob deGrom go in 2 of the 3 games. They had Max Scherzer for 1 of the games, and then they just dominated that. They dominated 2 of the 3 games. And Jacob deGrom isn't back yet, but he's going to be. This Mets team is the real deal. I've been calling it all year long when people didn't want to believe in them. Did I put the Braves ahead of them in the power rankings? Yeah, I put them 1 spot ahead because they were the best team in baseball since the beginning of June. They absolutely deserve to be ahead of them in the standings. But this series right here proved, hey, we're a different team. It's time to take us serious. The New York Mets this year are doing it differently. We don't just have our star. We don't have Jacob deGrom and then Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. And if deGrom goes out, guess what? You're screwed. They have Max Scherzer. They have deGrom coming back. They have Lindor, who's been really good. They have Pete Alonso leading baseball in RBIs. They have Mark Canha out in the outfield that's been good. They have Starling Marte that's been great. Jeff McNeil has been great. Everybody is capable of picking up everybody. That's what makes this team so dangerous. They can rake one night and they'll win ball games. They can not hit another night and they'll win ball games because the Max Scherzer to Edwin Diaz combo is unbeatable. Edwin Diaz has been the most dominant closer in baseball for over a month now. I tweeted that and got a lot of backlash, and I'm not happy this happened, but the responses were, well, Clay Holmes exists. Well, one, the stats speak for themselves. Edwin Diaz in the last month has thrown 12 2/3 innings and struck out 30 guys. Clay Holmes, and he had an ERA under 1. Clay Holmes had pitched 10 1/3 innings and had 11 strikeouts and had an ERA under 1. Both fantastic. One clearly more dominant. 30 strikeouts and 12 2/3 is ridiculous. But then the night I tweeted that, Clay Holmes went out and didn't record an out and got a loss and just blew up. It wasn't a good outing, but Edwin Diaz has been the best closer in baseball for a month. He is dominant. He is striking out everybody. He has struck out more than half of the batters he's faced this year. It's remarkable. The Mets are so good. They showed it on the road against the Braves this year and proved to everybody else that the Mets aren't gonna Met. Edwin Diaz this season among relief pitchers. So this just isn't in the last month that I was talking about. This season amongst relief pitchers. First in strikeout percentage, second in Fangraphs WAR, first in K per 9, first in FIP and XFIP, first in strikeout to walk ratio, best reliever in baseball. Those are facts. You can't argue with it. Those are facts. And the fact is, the Mets are once again proving that they're the team to beat right now in the NL East. The Braves have been the best team in baseball. They have proved, hey, we're back. The Braves are a playoff team. There's no doubt about that. The Braves could win the NL East. But as we sit right here, right now, the Mets are the team to beat in the NL East. No matter how hot the Braves get, no matter how close the gap gets, the NL East runs through the Mets. For a brief 2-week period of time, the Braves deserve to be ahead of the Mets in the power rankings, but it all led up to this clash in the middle of the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, between those two teams, and the Mets showed just how good they are.
Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.